Hello everyone, JRDL96 here with a brand new unboxing. As you could tell by the title, it's something different and we haven't done in probably a very long time. And that is something from WWE Shop. The last WWE Shop unboxing I think I did was back in 2015 when I was back in my old room and when I had longer ass hair and I was still obsessed over John Cena. Probably back then. But as you can tell by the title, it's a shirt of probably one of the greatest wrestling characters in the history of professional wrestling, The Undertaker. Now, the WWE Network put out back in May this 5-part series called The Undertaker: The Last Ride, and it documented The Undertaker from the last 3 years. He always wanted to go out on a high note. He doesn't want to go out like in a bad match. Hence the match with him and Roman Reigns was kind of and he had to get his hip resurfaced and a lot of surgeries, and he had to find redemption for himself. It's like this vicious cycle, and it's just like, it's probably one of the greatest documentaries I've ever seen WWE ever put out, by far. Seeing him out of character is by far the weirdest thing in the world, because I remember when I first started watching WWE, I was terrified of the man. But over the years, I started to become more and more of a fan of his and less scared of him. And I truly appreciate his work, because his dedication to that character, to keep kayfabe alive, is probably one of the greatest things in wrestling. So enough me gushing about The Undertaker. And also, don't forget, he recently announced his retirement. And he said never say never, but at the same time, I feel like he might wrestle again. But if this is it, I think he should not wrestle again, because after that Boneyard match, that was probably the best thing I've ever seen. Probably one of the greatest things I've ever seen. It was phenomenal. No pun intended, AJ Styles. But honestly, I would love to see an actual match between the two. Like Undertaker in his prime against AJ Styles in his prime. It would be probably Shawn Michaels versus Taker WrestleMania 25 on steroids. It would be, I don't think the crowd would be alive after that match. So I decided to get this specific shirt from WWE Shop because I never really owned an Undertaker shirt in my life, except for that one-off shirt from WWE Slam Crate, which I'm no longer subscribed to. That doesn't really count to me. So I decided to, get the Last Ride, line of one of the shirts from that was, celebrating the Last Ride. And this shirt is probably the coolest I've ever seen. Probably one of the coolest Undertaker shirts I've ever seen. It's so badass looking. So what we have here is the Undertaker Last Ride t-shirt. And there's a lot to decipher. It looks like something you would put on a deck of cards. That is probably what you will see. So you have him. You have Paul Bearer. Oh, yes, Undertaker! You have him back in the day, in like the early 90s. You have him doing his iconic, down to one knee pose, his urns, rest in peace, his, iconic symbol, him in a coffin. Him, there he is, as American Badass over here, and I think that was from his Boneyard match. And him, like 2 versions of him in a casket. Very, very cool. This is probably one of the coolest shirts I've ever have gotten, and probably one of the coolest shirts WWE's ever put out. And it has Undertaker, The Last Ride. Very cool. So, enough rambling. Let's try on this shirt now, shall we? So, this is what the shirt looks like. Very, very badass. American badass, no pun intended. Very cool looking. It's The Last Ride for The Undertaker. So, I gotta do it. Rest in peace. Alright, I had to do it. And that is what terrified me more as a kid. That was why I was afraid of him. When he did the eye roll. This iconic eye roll that he used to do scared me as a kid. And I remember 2 years ago, it was from a WWE Slam Crate unboxing actually, where I discovered, after watching, I did it, like tried to do it in a video, and I discovered while watching it back, I'm like, oh, I actually did it. Because I remember as a kid, I couldn't do it. So, like, when I discovered it, I'm like, oh, let me try and incorporate it into my own characters, like J.R. Dyer and Xander and stuff like that. And, put on, you know, that eyeliner. Not the eyeliner, my war mask, as, you know, Undertaker would put it. He said that in the Last Ride documentary, which is pretty funny. He told that story about when he brought his dad to one of the shows in Houston, and when it got to the point when he had to put on the makeup, his dad was kind of like shaking his head like. So I'm like, I can relate. My dad was kind of like, you know, shaking his head when I did the J.R. Dye makeup once, and I came out, and he was like, "What the fuck?" So that was pretty fun, and that whole documentary is probably one of the best things WWE has ever put out, and it's probably the greatest thing ever, one of the greatest characters of all time, The Undertaker. I've only seen him live once in my life, and that was back in 2006 at a SmackDown taping at the Nassau Coliseum. He was feuding with Mr. Kennedy, remember him? And they were going into Survivor Series in a first blood match. Remember when WWE used to be more badass and they would allow bloodshed? Yeah, remember those days? And Kennedy is doing his promo about how he's gonna beat him, and he beat him with his microphone and stuff like that. And then the gong hits, and the lights go out. So and I could clearly see the ring. So I'm looking at the ring for a little bit, and then I look to my left to see that the video entrance video starts playing. So then I go look right back at the ring, and there he is, behind Mr. Kennedy. I'm like, where the hell did how the hell did he get there so quick? And then Kennedy turns around and he runs out of the ring, and then Undertaker goes, Survivor Series, First Blood. And then Kennedy's on the stage, and then it starts to rain blood on him. Like, raining blood. Like, you know. That was the only time I've ever seen The Undertaker ever. I wish I could meet the man one day. That's one of those bucket list things of people I want to meet. I'm glad that I was able to cross one of them off my list, which was CM Punk. So, stuff like that. And also, I feel that the WrestleMania streak, his undefeated streak of WrestleMania, should have never been broken. Like, granted, if it had to happen, should have given it to somebody that was going to stay here for very long, like somebody like a Roman Reigns, let's say. I'm not saying him exactly, but, you know, someone who will be here and not always every week, and not someone who's part-time like, you know, Lesnar. No disrespect to him. But honestly, I would have swapped the matches between 30 and SummerSlam 2015 and had the SummerSlam match as the WrestleMania match, because that's honestly a better match, in my honest opinion. But anyways, enough rambling. I think that's officially it on this unboxing of the Undertaker Last Ride t-shirt unboxing. Hope you guys enjoyed. And honestly, I want to say to the man himself, if you ever end up watching this one day, Undertaker, Mark Calloway, thank you for the memories. Thank you for shaping my childhood. Thank you for scaring me as a kid. And thank you for your amazing work. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. So if you like what you saw here, hit the like button, subscribe, share this video with your friends. Be sure to ring that bell to be part of the notification squad. Be sure also to check out my Instagram because I make cool ads on Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, even myself. I also reenactments and cosplays on there, so go check it out. And be sure also to check out my Tumblr and my Discord in the description as well. So until next time, JRDL96 signing out.